Chapter 17, Marketing and Communication. So let's talk a little bit about marketing. What is marketing? The American Marketing Association defines marketing as the activity set of institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. There are 4 prerequisites for marketing. Number 1, there must be 2 or more parties with unsatisfied needs. So one party is the consumer looking for a certain need, and the other party is the company looking to sell a product for financial gain. Also, there must be a desire or ability for one party to meet the needs of another party. Both parties must have something to exchange, so the consumer must have health insurance or financial resources to exchange for receipt of those medical services, and the concept of exchange is viewed as the core of marketing. And then also there must be a means to communicate, so each party must learn of each other's existence. Now, what is social marketing? Social marketing is the application of commercial marketing technologies to the analysis, planning, execution, and evaluation of programs designed to influence the voluntary behavior of target audiences in order to improve their personal welfare and that of society. Now, this quote or this definition was derived by Alan Anderson. Now, the key aspects of Anderson's criteria for social marketing are the consumer research. So in order to develop a great marketing program, you must understand the consumer. A key similarity of social marketing and commercial marketing is the focus on the consumer. Also, you must have concepts of segmentation and targeting. So segmentation is at the core of effective marketing. Develop tactics and programs customized to the customer. You must also have a marketing mix. So marketing is more than communication. It's like the 4 P's: product, price, place, and promotion. And we will talk about those here on the next slide. And then also too, you need to have competition. So now let's talk a little bit about the 4 P's of commercial marketing. So you have product. Product, which is the goods or benefits a person receives for desired behavior. The price, it's a monetary, tangible, or intangible cost the person incurs for goods. Place, time and location for the exchange to occur. And then promotion, messages that announce the proposed exchange. The key differences between commercial and social marketing. Number 1, you've got the products or services tend to be more complex. This is because they often involve a behavior change. The desired outcomes are often harder to observe in the near term. Also, the demand is often more varied and negative. In other words, like a demarket. Some individuals may not view this behavior as negative. Now, demarketing, what that is, it redirects consumers' behaviors to more positive effects. So deals with discouraging customers in general or a certain class of customers in particular on either a temporary or permanent basis. And then target groups can be more difficult to reach. This is a function of socioeconomic status. The poor do not have emails or are unable to receive mailings, and etc. Consumer involvement is more challenging. You have high involvement versus low involvement. Involvement in the amount of cognitive effort that will be expanded in a given situation. So the high involvement is expensive. It can have serious personal consequences or can reflect on one's social image. Consumers engage in a very deliberate decision process and searches for information. Now, for low involvement, a consumer uses routine problem solving and few external information sources. And then, of course, the last one is the competition is more subtle and varied. What competition is there in diabetes management programs, etc.? So that's what they're asking. Competition does exist in the fact that individuals enjoy what they are doing or suffer from inertia or believe that few options would affect a positive outcome. So Rothschild's definition is any environmental or perceptual force that impedes an organization's ability to achieve its goals. So like for an example, let's talk about children obesity. What's the competition? The competition would be like video games, internet, or some other comorbid behavior. So it's competing against a healthy child, so that's the competition. People perform these behaviors because they provide some perceived benefit or reduce costs better than the desired behavior. So here's the example of the social marketing wheel. So first you're going to start here at planning and strategy. So you want to get your idea, you want to plan it, you want to figure out how to go about marketing what you're trying to sell. Then you want to select the channels in the materials. So you want to select what channels you're going to access as well as the materials you're going to need to market your item. Then you want to develop the materials, and pre-testing. So you want to develop the item and then also test it out to see if indeed it will succeed. Then you want to do implementation. So then you want to put it out there, start the marketing phase to get to selling the product. Then you want to assess the effectiveness. How well is the marketing working to sell this product? Is it working? Is it not? What can we do to tweak it? Or if it's just fine, leave it as it is. And then you want to get feedback to refine the program. So you want to get your information returned to see if indeed that marketing strategy worked. If it did not, then you want to go back, redo it, and then you can, in a sense, start the whole process back over again with a different item. Now let's look a little bit about the market-driven approach to planning. Here, people will start with the mission and a goal. Like, okay, well, our mission is to change this behavior, and our goal is to do it by this amount, or whatever the case might be. Once you've decided your mission, your goals, then you're going to go to assess the need. What's the need of the population? Do they really need this item that we're trying to sell, or do they not? So once you've assessed those needs and determined, yep, you know what, I think it's definitely needed, then you can go to identify the competitive advantage. What else is out there maybe already that's trying to solve this problem, or something that the consumers are already purchasing? What's the competition? Is it too great? Is it not enough? Is it something you can get into? So those are the questions you're going to ask in this stage. Then you're going to go down to develop the strategy. How am I going to market this? What's going to be the best approach? Then you can do a couple of things. You can take it down to pre-test strategy and see exactly, is it really going to work out in the field? And then you can, if it doesn't, just go right back and redevelop it. Once you've figured out to exactly how you want to present this marketing tool, then you'll take it down to the implementation and you'll put it out there. And then from there, it just goes to the consumers and you make your product. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the differences between the social marketing wheel and the market-driven approach. Now, in the social marketing wheel, strategies are developed in the first step, while commercial marketers try to understand the goals and do research. And also, too, another difference is the step that must be taken prior to full-scale rollout of the social marketing program for population health management. Now, if you look back, that step is developing materials and pre-testing, where the step before implementation for the market-driven approach is the developing of the strategy. Well, obviously, the developing of strategy for the social marketing wheel is the actual first step. So that's the big difference. And then right before the rollout, they have for the market-driven approach would be the development of the strategy, and then for the social marketing wheel, it's actually the developing materials and the pre-testing. So there is a little bit of a difference. And then that step before the rollout, this step leads to refinements or changes in a program before the implementation. Target market and market segmentation. So target market is a specific group of customers or individuals that an organization or company wants to attract with its bundle offerings. In order for a social marketing program to be effective, it must target a specific target market. Also, closer a program is targeted using the 4 Ps, there's a greater chance of receiving a positive response. And then you've got homophily, which is people assume similarity between themselves and characteristics within the advertisements. People respond more favorably to targeted communication when this is involved. Then you have persuasion, which is enhanced when there is a match between the characteristics of a person in an advertisement and the viewer of the ad. This is why you see many commercials have a wide range of ethnicity of its people in it. Decreased persuasion equals majority group viewing an advertisement featuring minority members and vice versa. So here you can have, where people will watch, and see a minority in the ad, and the majority may not want to go after that ad or after that product because it has a minority being the spokesperson, if you will. So that would be decreased persuasion. So again, that's the majority group viewing an advertisement featuring minority members and vice versa. And then also your last one is market segmentation. Now this is the clustering of customers or individuals with similar wants or needs to which an organization can tailor a marketing mix to meet those needs. Now the ideal market segmentation is as homogeneous as possible. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about market segmentation. So the first bullet point is socio-demographic segmentation, which factors age, income, gender, and ethnicity. So this here is segmentation has shown some negative effects, particularly in regards to race. An example, food marketing environment and its likely negative effect on prevention and control of obesity for African Americans. Here a good example would be fast food restaurants in urban areas. and maybe not enough healthy market, healthy food options in those same areas as well. Then you have the psychographic segmentation. Now this segment uses the attitudes, interests, and opinions of individuals to ideally generate lifestyle segments. Here customers are divided into various groups based on lifestyle. And also it's used to help marketers understand what influences purchase decisions. And then of course the last one here is the behavior or usage rate. Now the ideal way to segment the ideal way to segment is behaviorally. Now the small group of heavy half users account for disproportionate share of product sales or use. And again, this is based on the Pareto's rule of the 80-20. In other words, it's on commercial side, focus is on defining the 20% of customers that produce 80% of the profits. And then the population health side, they consider the importance of developing different marketing for different segments. So the heavy half segment, which would be 20% who engage in negative behaviors all the time. Then you have the significant segment, which is the 60% who engage in negative behaviors but do not on a regular basis. And then also you have a group that does not engage in the negative behavior at all. So market-driven research is in 3 stages. The initial stage focuses on assessing the needs of the market and establishing a differential advantage relative to competing offerings, behaviors, or programs. The second stage occurs when a program or communication is presented with a group similar to the intended target market. And then also the third stage is the evaluation and is conducted after the implementation. Now we're going to discuss the 4 P's of marketing, and first we're going to look at the product. So anything that can be offered to the market to satisfy a need. So this can be physical objects, it could be services, persons, places, organizations, and ideas. Now a challenge is to have the exchange perceived as a positive. Now here's an example. So you've got, let's say for instance, new condoms, which is your product, that are made to be more sensual and affordable, which would be your price, and then as well as accessible, which would be your place. So this has a greater effect on changing behaviors because of a good mix of the 4 P's. So the more 4 P's you have in your marketing, the better chances of getting that item sold or presented to the audience or the customers. Now we're going to look at the place P for the marketing mix. Now the place is how a product is accessed by the consumer, the product's distribution channel in a sense. So in a commercial context, it's a retail store, online, or home delivery. And in the healthcare context, it's a primary care, satellite office, hours of operations. And also too, we want to look at the channels of distribution. So when we're looking at the channels of distribution, we're going to look at the traditional channel, which you have the manufacturer, which goes down to the wholesaler, which goes down to the retailer, and then finally to the consumer. Where with the healthcare channel, we're actually starting with the consumer or the patient, which then goes to the primary care clinician, to the acute care hospital, and then finally to the tertiary facility. So you can see pretty much then with the healthcare channel, the flow is actually reversed. So again, you've got consumer at the end of traditional. It's actually at the top of the healthcare. The tertiary facility is mainly your manufacturer. So this process is completely the reverse of the traditional channel. Now Lautenberg suggested 3 related questions that should be asked about the place. Now these questions help to broaden the perspective on place and its relative importance in social marketing for population health. So you want to have do you have the opportunity to engage in the desired behavior? Do you have the motivation to engage in the desired behavior? And then do you have the ability to engage in the desired behavior? For example, to reduce obesity, the key issue might be access to nutritious foods. People want to change the behavior for a more desirable end state, but other channels do not provide the opportunity. Now we'll discuss a little bit about the price portion of the marketing mix. Now there are 2 dimensions of price. You have out-of-pocket price and then opportunity cost. Now the out-of-pocket price is where individuals must exchange for a program, product, or service. And then the opportunity cost here is where individuals must incur to interact with the organization to partake in the program. And also opportunity cost is the amount of effort the individual has to expend to interact with the organization to engage in the program or service. Now, if a product is priced too low, there is a perceptual factor that negatively affect the desired exchange. So in other words, is this a cheap product? If it is, I'm not going to buy it because it's priced too low. Now we're going to discuss promotion. Now, promotion has meant the traditional media of broadcast, such as radio, TV, publication, such as brochures, newspapers, magazines, and then also personal sales. This type has been used by public health organizations for a long time. Now, promotion involves internet and other social media and mobile communication devices to reach intended audiences. So the pre-Web 2.0, now the main advantage of health professionals in social marketing campaigns was controlled, and that's what the pre-Web 2.0 is about. By using mass media to control placement of messages, allowed for targeting and afforded control over placement with maximum exposure. So the four controlled key elements in the pre-Web 2.0 were what was said to the market, to whom it was said, how often it was said, and when it was said. Now, these advantages were lost or minimized when using a public service announcement because a company doing the broadcasting or printing determined when the message was broadcasted or where it was placed in printed media. So here you have the organization that will create the message, and then it will get put out through the radio, through billboards, television, and print out to the market. Now, again, this was the pre-Web 2.0. Now let's look at Web 2.0. Now, the challenge in this environment is the lack of control, or the recognition of an implicit architecture of participation. Now, this architecture of participation has led to the strength of Wikipedia, where users can add and edit content. So the advantages of Web 2.0 to increase loyalty to the program and increase likelihood of purchasing or going along with what is being promoted. Also the interaction with others about messages being conveyed. And then also the greater likelihood of relating to the target market that participated in its development. So as you can see with this, you've got the web, the internet, and the marketing that's going to go from it. It goes to a lot of individuals, and then from individuals it goes to other individuals, so it just keeps bouncing around. So there is a lack of control, there's no question about it. But again, it does go to more people. There's a lot more interaction from people to people about this product, and there's likelihood of reaching the target audience a lot easier as well too. Now this will conclude Chapter 17. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.